May 1945. World War II is coming to an end. Berlin has fallen. Hitler is dead. But deep in Austria, among lush forests and towering mountains, lies a fortress that would soon become the stage for a one-of-a-kind battle in history. A medieval castle, witness to centuries of wars and conflicts, would be the setting for a battle in which natural enemies, who had fought each other for years, would join forces against a common foe. American soldiers, members of the German Wehrmacht, and high-ranking French prisoners would fight together against the ruthless troops of the Waffen-SS in a desperate confrontation that would test their courage and resolve. This is a story of resistance, heroism, and an unthinkable alliance in the final days of the war. This is the incredible story of the Battle of Castle Itter. Located in the heart of the Austrian Alps, Castle Itter is a fortress that seems pulled from legend. It stands atop a hill surrounded by dense forests and snow-covered mountains, with stone towers overlooking the landscape. However, despite its imposing appearance, this castle was the site of one of the last battles of World War II. During the war, the castle ceased to be a symbol of nobility and became a Gestapo prison. Unlike concentration camps or forced labor camps, this fortress had a different purpose. It served as a prison for high-profile captives, men too valuable to execute but too dangerous to release. Within its walls were some of France's most influential figures: Édouard Daladier, former prime minister and a key figure in the attempt to stop the Nazi threat before the war; Paul Reynaud, his successor and a fierce opponent of the German occupation; Generals Maxime Weygand and Maurice Gamelin, top French military commanders whose strategies shaped the early years of the conflict; and Jean Borotra, a famous tennis player and politician who became a symbol of resistance against Nazism. Also held, there were family members of Charles de Gaulle and other influential leaders. These men lived in relatively comfortable conditions compared to other war prisoners. However, they were constantly monitored and isolated, unsure of what fate awaited them. As the war progressed and the Nazi regime began to crumble, uncertainty grew within the castle. Berlin had been reduced to rubble by bombings and the advance of the Red Army. Hitler had taken his own life in his bunker, and Allied forces were pushing forward through Germany and Austria with little resistance. Chaos reigned within German ranks. While thousands of Wehrmacht soldiers surrendered, the Waffen-SS, Hitler's most fanatical loyalists, refused to accept defeat. Their goal was to continue fighting at any cost, eliminating anyone they considered traitors or obstacles. Castle Itter found itself in a dangerous position. With Allied forces approaching and the Reich collapsing, the prisoners knew that Nazi troops could arrive at any moment, not to rescue them, but to execute them and prevent them from falling into enemy hands. The prison commander, Sebastian Wimmer, realized his time was up. On the night of May 4th, he and most of the SS guards abandoned the castle, leaving behind the prisoners and the remaining staff. When the inmates awoke, they found the castle deserted. No guards, but also no safety. They knew the war wasn't over, and any nearby SS unit could try to retake the fortress or wipe them out. Wasting no time, they searched the castle for weapons and ammunition. They found rifles, a few grenades, and pistols. But it wouldn't be enough to resist a coordinated attack. They needed help. Enter an unexpected hero, Zvonimir Chuchkovic, a Yugoslav partisan working at the castle as a messenger. Aware of the danger, he took a bicycle and rode more than 60 kilometers through Nazi-controlled territory. Pedaling without rest and dodging enemy patrols, he reached Kufstein, where he found American troops from the 23rd Tank Battalion. His message was received by Captain John C. Jack Lee Jr., a seasoned officer who understood the urgency of the situation. Without waiting for orders, he gathered 14 soldiers and a Sherman tank nicknamed Besotten Jenny. But on the way, something unexpected happened. While heading toward the castle, Lee's convoy encountered a group of German soldiers led by Major Josef Gangl. Gangl, a Wehrmacht officer disillusioned with the Nazi regime and aware of its imminent collapse, had begun cooperating with the Austrian resistance. After learning about the rescue mission, Gangl made a historic decision. Instead of fighting the Americans, he joined them with a dozen of his men. Now, soldiers from both sides, former enemies, were marching together to face a common foe. On May 5, 1945, the Waffen-SS attacked. Over 100 Nazi soldiers surrounded the castle and opened fire with machine guns and mortars. The defenders took cover behind the castle's thick stone walls. From the windows, they fired back with the few weapons they had. Among them were not only soldiers, but also French prisoners who, until recently, had been hostages. The Sherman tank Besotten. Jenny was positioned at the main entrance, serving as a bastion against the Nazi assault. But enemy fire was relentless. Within minutes, the tank was destroyed. In the chaos, Major Josef Gangl became a true hero. When a burst of gunfire threatened to strike Paul Renault, Gangl didn't hesitate. He threw himself in the line of fire to protect him. A Nazi sniper shot him in the chest. The German officer who had chosen to fight against his former comrades fell mortally wounded. But his sacrifice was not in vain. The battle raged on. Ammunition was running low, and the situation was becoming critical. That's when Jean Borotra, the legendary French tennis player, made a bold decision. He leapt over the castle walls and, dodging bullets, ran several kilometers until he reached American troops. Thanks to his courage, reinforcements from the 142nd Infantry Regiment arrived at the castle. Outnumbered and overwhelmed, the Waffen-SS soldiers either fled or surrendered. The battle was over. This confrontation is considered the last battle of World War II in Europe. Just 2 days later, Germany signed its unconditional surrender. Today, Castle Itter still stands as a witness to an unbelievable story. A story where former enemies set aside their differences to fight against a greater evil. Did you know about this story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you're passionate about World War II history, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.